Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Double Z podcast in the house. I'm currently switching it up a little bit. It's playing a little music in the background. Hopefully, you don't hear that too much. And then also having a little smoke because there's zero fucking zen in this bitch. And we gotta get it right. So, what the hell was I thinking about earlier? Yeah. There's something about, like, really, how do I put it? How do I get this out? It's really more like, I'm really, excuse me for the whole sniffing and all that crazy shit. I have crazy allergies, so they just, really sorry for that. Where am I at now? This is a horrible intro. It's probably the worst ever. Okay. Get it together here. Whoosah. So today we're going to speak on just having a solid belief. Like, what do you believe in? What the hell is there to believe in? Because it sounds real scary. It sounds like a whole fucking just mess of information out there that you can't prove, you can't disprove. You know, you're looking, you're searching, whatever resonates. This might hit some sort of way. This might hit a different way. It's really a matter of, like, what you really believe in, as in what you can actually feel and, like, taste and smell and, like, just sort of be able to identify without a doubt that it's worth it, right? And I think that just narrowed down the whole pool from like 3.7 trillion things to like fucking 3 things. And I mean, beyond that, I think, well, me personally, like the concepts of basically, I mean, okay, hold on, pause, time out. Let me just speak on that for a minute. The word concept is a loose canon, so to speak, because anybody can introduce some sort of concept and then everybody just sort of eats it up and they just go along with it. Like, sure, that's a great way, but it may or may not really. It's like okay, let me just break that down. That seems too difficult to even for me to understand. Like, why the fuck is there something called like a broker or like something like that? You can go do your own things, like purchase and sell with your own fucking money, doing it one-on-one. Who the fuck thought that putting somebody in the middle of those two people was a good fucking idea? It just doesn't add up. Like, that's something that just sort of, it's just some random ass concept. Like, okay, let's fucking throw somebody else in the middle just because they're better at it than another person, but then they're getting paid for it. Yeah, anyway, it's just a fucking stupid idea. Those things are more or less like disregarded completely. Like, I don't even dedicate a single like Newton of energy for any of that shit, for any fucking just trivial stupidity like that. It means nothing. So the things that you can touch and feel and like sense that's something that can be impactful and something that has like a real weight, like it does something. What are you thinking of? Just think about that. Like, what can really be identified? I guess you could say pain, because you got nerves and you can feel that shit. Food, you can taste that shit. I mean, you can, but let me just do a little mind-blowing fact real quick. Do you know that everything that you taste is also the same way? Like, taste and smell is the same. If it smells like an orange, doesn't it taste orangey? And vice versa. Like, if it smells like a fucking onion, doesn't it taste that same exact way? The same exact way that it hits your nose and your eyeballs and your fucking taste buds. It's all connected. So those are just generalizations or whatever. But the main topic, and probably the only important topic out of everything, is 4 letters. and it's the word love, which is pretty much, I feel like almost the most powerful. Let me just put the asterisk next to that one. Asterisk, I think that's how you say it. Next to that, most powerful, but with the exception of like just dark thoughts and like induced hatred and like people and like rage and all that shit. Like that's sort of real, but that's also um that's also that's a whole different, I don't know. Let's not go there. Let's go somewhere else real quick though. Just want to speak on like just the happiness part of it. There's a certain sense of happiness also like directly in correlation with love, I guess you would say, or like just really close to it. They're like neighbors. They can be separated, but they're pretty fucking close. So with that being said, like, you know, when you're young and when you're outside and you're jumping through sprinklers, or if you're playing tag, or if you're fucking, I don't know what it is that you love doing out there, right? And you just hear the kids, and everybody's jumping around and just having the best time of your life, you know? Those moments bring a certain like aura to you. Like it makes you reminisce. It brings back, you know, almost puts you right back there. Like, damn, I was just there, and you can hear the fuck, you could feel the breeze, and you were laughing, you were jumping, and a kid would fall, and he would cry, and he would get up, and he'd be like, all right, you're fucking good. And it's just like, wow, man, those were happy moments, right? Those are like the life-defining moments. So where did those go? Like, why did we just automatically detach ourselves from that part, and then just all just nothing but business and fucking responsibilities and adulting, and then just throwing your whole fucking life away and anything that you were passionate about, and becoming addicted to worshiping the dollar bill, because that's all you know, is the only thing that we need. It's like, fuck your whole life, let's just get money. I mean, there's way too much other shit that's being just disregarded, and you're detaching yourself from so many other like opportunities, because like even the most famous people and the most successful people, if you want to call it, those are their labels, but people who have done something right and know what they're doing have always said that if you do something that you love and it makes you happy, it doesn't feel like work. So why would you do something that doesn't make you happy for a fucking living? It just doesn't, like, that's not the goal. The goal is, like, if you love animals, start a fucking rescue center in your goddamn garage and turn it into an entire fucking setup for, you know, animals and rescuing and rehab, and get a fenced yard and put fucking everything in, and start a nonprofit. And you know what? All you have to do is just, like, for example, just start a nonprofit. Like, I was talking about this earlier to a couple friends. I was like, we need to get a nonprofit for old people, because they're too fucking slow in the road, and they need to just go to like they're just going to their Kroger and their little local fucking supermarket to get their shit, and go to their pharmacy and get their meds, because that's all they need. And I understand old people want to drive. Yeah, I get it. Like, we're not saying, you know, you guys are not worthy of taking over the road, but at the same time, you're causing an extreme inconvenience to regular aged people that don't drive 12 miles under the speed limit on a fucking busy road. It's just frustrating. So I was thinking, like, I could get some shit cars, repair them. I do a little mechanic work, start up like a fleet, and get some sort of, you know, thing in the ad, the newspaper, fucking you name it. Who knows? We'll go door to door, and, you know, send out things and start like a Uber for old people, and they don't even have to pay us. Like, it'll just be completely free, and we can just be like, okay, you know, once we get traction, just open up like a GoFundMe or a PayPal or a Patreon or a fucking whatever, and just be like, donations accepted. We don't charge anything for any services. It's all for whatever, and if you want to help, you can help. If you don't want to help, that's cool. Eventually somebody will see it, and somebody will excuse me, somebody will appreciate it. And it's not like, I'm not saying that we're going to bank on other people doing that, but at the same time, it's doing something that you're passionate about. That's the bottom line. Like when you do something that you love doing and you just want to do that because it brings you joy, that's what you're going to be really successful at, because you're not feeling like it's a task. It's not like an extra burden, and you don't have to wake up feeling like shit doing the same fucking shit over and over. No, you're saving lives. You're honestly, it's like you're fucking saving lives if you do that. I mean, think about the big picture, you know. You got old people. They could have fucking forgot to eat breakfast, took their meds, forgot to take their meds, didn't get enough sleep, you know, fell asleep behind the wheel, something happened, and they were driving, you know, nothing serious, but like at the same time, it's just worrying. It's like, it just gives me a little peace of mind, you know. And not only that, you're just doing a service, and it's like you can, and 9 times out of 10, how many times have you seen an old person and they're just dying to tell you some random ass old person story from the early 50s, whenever they were doing this, that, and third, and talking about their grandkids and talking about how you look like they're like, come on, man. They'll talk about their fucking dogs, and they'll talk about the prairies, and they'll talk about the fucking cows. They just need somebody to talk to. Like, that's really the reason. Like, I can totally relate to that. They just want to get the hell out of their house, and they want to do shit. They don't want to feel like a fucking incapacitated moron in the house on a fucking wheelchair with no friends because they're old and nobody wants to talk to them. That's cruel. So it's like a two-way street, right? Like, we're providing them a service. They can sit there and chit-chat all they fucking want, and they can even, I mean, you know, you're going to provide with all the good shit. You know, you're not going to be asking for anything. You just be a good person, and just generally, like, it's literally just that, just being a good human, and letting other people, you know, say what they want to say, because honestly, most people just want to be heard, and there's not enough people out here that are willing to listen. That's a thing. That's a real thing. I don't think anybody wants to like acknowledge that. I mean, I, for one, I'm using this as like my therapy. I don't have anyone to really talk to. I don't really have anybody to relate with, because I'm just a very hypersensitive healer, and I've been this way, and it's hard to like connect with other people. So in that regards, it's like the only way I could connect with people is just being me. People will find me if their aura is off, or if they catch a certain whatever, I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna catch on. My spider senses are crazy. So enough about me. But what were we talking about? Now, we were talking about, the fuck were we talking about? Happiness and love, and what makes you happy, and being successful, and being a good human being. I mean, all that is like a whole entity. So, I mean, let's just break that down a little bit, because it all starts with a simple trust, a simple, like, main idea sitting right in the middle. Like, imagine a giant sky full of stars, and there's one big ass planet like right in the middle of your field of vision. That's the epicenter, you know. So you got that, and that is your like main, we can call it a crutch, call it a main passion, just call it the main one, you know, just your main idea. What brings you the most joy ever in your life? It could be children, it could be helping others, it could be driving, it could be writing, it could be art, painting, it could be teaching, it could be a million, bajillion things. And one of them, it's pretty obvious that you already know what it is. I mean, when you were younger, I'm sure you tried all kinds of different kids' options and games, and other kids were doing things, and you were doing things, and your brother was doing things, and your sister was doing things, and all these people were doing things. You may or may not have liked every one of them, but I'm sure there's a couple of them that you could probably remember that you were like fairly good at. Like it was something to it that you just caught on, and you were like, yeah, this shit is cool. I can rock with this. So you may or may not have. Sorry, my cats are. cats are having a WWE match right now. Um, so there's something that some of those things that you may or may not have liked, but you're gonna catch on to a couple of them. So I mean, say it was you were running and you were just faster than everybody, or you were swimming and you were able to hold your breath super long. There's something to that. Like there's so much truth to that, because when you're that young and your body is developing and you're honing in your skills basically for what you're going to be, for all the muscles that you're going to be using in your life, it's like you're conditioning yourself from that point on to do that thing and be good at it. So it's like after so many attempts of trying to be good at everything, you're not going to be good at everything. Nobody is. I've tried so many different fields of shit, and none of it really makes me happy. Like super duper hoo hoo hoo, like jumping for joy happy. But I do enjoy helping people, and I do enjoy writing. And I do enjoy music and art. So I'm like a whole mixture of that shit put together, with a bit of crazy. Oh man, so that about that epicenter, you got that idea. So once you believe in that sort of, really embrace it. Whatever it is, if it's a firefighter, if it's detective work, if it's laboratory work, if it's studying, if you're good with your hands, if you want to be a mechanic, if you want to be a freaking astronaut, do it and focus on that passion, because that passion is going to grow you inside of you, and then it's going to grow, like it's going to enhance everything around it. As soon as you start believing in it, it's going to grow everything around it. It's like once you water a whole field full of seeds, it's not going to look like much. But as long as you've got the seeds, holy shit, you're going to be very, like you're going to have a good crop. And all the crops are going to be straight, because you have that base. It's like you got it. Everything builds on top of that. You never lose it. You never lose sight of the prize, because that's the one thing that keeps you grounded. It's like your center. It's like your whole universe goes around that. And I'm not saying be selfish. It sounds like I'm saying be selfish, because you're supposed to focus on yourself the most. But what it really means is that you should focus on what makes your entire surroundings better, not just you. I mean, anybody can fucking make $1 million and brag the shit out of it. But did they help the people around them? Like, I'm not, some people would step on other people's toes just to do that. Some people would forge things and just be nasty people overall, just to gain something that somebody else doesn't have. I mean, there's layers to it. But the main goal is that you build that your whole life is around that belief. Like you got that strength in you that resonates, and it shouldn't ever go away. Like that's your light. That's your fucking beam of light. Don't let anybody dim that shit. They have no reason to, and you have no reason to think otherwise, because you know it. You know yourself better than anybody else. Like I don't know you, but I know that you know yourself better than anybody else. So that's one thing that I can say 100% about every single person. And if you don't, then I strongly suggest you do a little bit of soul searching. You might try a little bit of hallucinogens. You might want to do some sort of meditating. You might want to like go on vacation and just try to look for some clarity somehow. You got to get some clarity. And once you get clarity, like that's the well, let me just conclude this, because that's basically what I'm getting at. Is in conclusion, whenever we're it's a big one. I know, bro. I know. Man, so when you look for that clarity, it's a bit of a shock, because I mean, it's something that doesn't necessarily have a really distinct form and shape of like, oh, that's probably what it is. It could be, that clarity of whatever it may be could be very hidden below a bunch of other shit that you might need to dig a lot deeper than you thought initially. So be prepared for that, and bring a shovel and bring a couple drinks, and yeah, because the shit ain't easy. But once I realized a couple things through all the experiences that I've been through and the clarity that's came through it all is that, like, you've got to find, you've got to have a, like, you got to have faith in one thing. That's it. If you've got one thing that you're like super passionate about, then that is your ultimate source of power. That's your, like, your superpower. And every single one of you have one of those. So you can't sleep on your superpower. Please don't sleep on the superpower. You got way more potential than that. There's a passion, there's a drive, and there's a whole madman in there that's just waiting to get unleashed. Just like my cats. And once they do become the way that they are and you embrace that shit, I mean, it's like the beginning. It's like you're seeing life through another pair of eyes that you never had before. Like if you got shitty vision, they'd be giving you some glasses for free. Like it's just a different world in general. But I've been rambling too long, so peace. If you like what you hear, by the way, subscribe, share it, like it, do some shit. I don't care. Tell people about it. Spread the word. One love.